Yes, yes.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Tanushree. And I can't pronounce your name.
Somo.
Soumyananda?
Or just Somo.
So great.
Yeah.
So I just watched it and it really broke my heart. It's such a lovely film. It's really wonderful. So thank you so much for making it. And I can see why the world loves it. So tell me why it took so long for it to be made.
So
I mean, we began the idea. We were thinking about the idea almost more than 10 years ago when we were film students,
Where?
and when we were film students in FTI was
FTI
when
Pune, both of you?
yes. So
Direction students?
no, Tanushree was in editing. I was in cinematography, and we were
Oh,
different
I
batches.
was his senior, in fact, and he was my junior, and we only connected because we liked the same films, and we used to discuss about edits and cinematography of different films we like, and so that's how it began.
Where are
But
you individually from, Tanushree? Someone tell me a little about your
I
where
am
you're from.
I am from where the film is from. I am from Barakpur in Kolkata. I've lived there
Right.
25 years of my life. And I studied in school there. Then I went to college in Calcutta. Then I went to Calcutta University. And then I went to Film Institute. That is where I met Somu.
And so are you?
yeah. So I was born and brought up in a village outside Bangalore called Silvepura, and I was there for the first 18 years of my life. Then I studied philosophy in Delhi, and
Where?
after that in Delhi University
Okay.
in St. Stephen's College,
Right.
and then I worked in an art gallery for a while, and then
Delhi?
in Delhi, yes,
Which
and
one?
the Delhi Art Gallery. I was archiving
Oh,
photographs of Nimai Ghosh.
oh, nice.
Yes. So his
That must have inspired you.
yes, so he was we were archiving all the behind the scenes photographs of Ray's films,
Right.
and but I'd already from quite a young age I'd decided I wanted to work in film, and when I was 17, between 17 and 18, I came to the talent campus in Delhi that was in the Ozian Cinefan, and then after that I went to the Berlinale talent campus when I was still in school.
Okay.
Um, and then, but then, so yeah, so then after
Which school
studying,
did you go to, Somo?
so my first 6 years was in a non-formal school in the village, which was run by my mother,
What is
and
the name of the village again? Sorry.
Silvepura, Silvepura,
Okay.
yeah.
Right.
And
And his mother's school
um,
is called Sita School. It's a beautiful, it used to be a very beautiful school. We, in fact, made a film about it. That
yeah,
was my first project together. That's how
Okay.
I met his family, and I literally fell in love with his family before I actually fell in love with him. Because his mother, I thought it was an incredible person, and she ran this beautiful, beautiful school. If you want, we can share that film's link with you. It's a very
Yeah, that'd be lovely. I'd love to.
it's called
What's her name? What's his mom's name? What's your mom's name?
Jane Sahi. So she's quite involved in the alternative education, network in South India, and so she ran the school for over 40 years, and we made this film just before the school closed. Yeah,
Okay.
so that was
Why
many
did
years
it
ago.
close?
It closed. I mean, one because it had the whole context of the village had changed. When my mother started the school, there was actually there was only one convent school, and there were a lot of dropouts. So by the
Right.
time the whole culture changed, as well as my mother, after 40 years, shifted to teaching teachers. So she's now more involved with that.
Teachers.
So
Right.
she felt the school had done its course and the need
Right.
for it had changed. Yeah.
So after that, where did you go to school?
So after that, I was in Aditi in Bangalore, and
Right.
which is actually the same school as our main producer Naren Chandavakar.
Oh,
So we first met in school and we stayed in touch, and so we go back a long way too.
very nice. So this is the first time you thought of this film was when you were at film school.
Yes,
Yes.
yes,
But
This film,
we got
yeah,
the courage to make the film after we became parents ourselves. So that took some time.
yes.
right.
And
Talk a little about telling this woman's story. I mean, she could be a CEO, she could be your press valley, she could be anyone. I mean, it's the story of the lives of most women. That's why it's so
yeah,
heartbreaking.
Yes, yes. And I think what inspired me to the idea was also that a lot of time, um, we generally judge a potential of a person by their achievement, right? But
Yeah,
there is so much lost in that process. There are these incredible women we are surrounded by, and like I remember my grandmother, my mother's mother, incredible women, married at the age of 8, first child at the age of 13. I mean, how will a woman like that, do anything in life? And she's raised kids and children, nieces and nephews. But we forget that in that also there's so much potential. So I really wanted to tell the story of a woman in spite of her circumstances, to celebrate the that energy, that life force that a woman has, and what she has achieved in life is not the sum total of that. So I think,
yeah,
and that is the story of my mother also. I mean incredibly talented, not because she's my mother, but I have met so many women like that in my life,
yeah, exactly.
and we keep meeting them, and one wonders and looks, like you're saying, and one looks at them and think that, well, she had all the potential to be CEO of
Yeah,
a company.
exactly. I mean, they're so smart, and
And
it's just a question of geography and destiny. I mean, where they were born
yeah,
sometimes.
yeah, and the position in the society and some
Yeah,
little circumstances.
yeah.
And I
Uh,
really
in, in, in her case, it's the man she chooses to marry, and you can see that she's fallen down a rabbit hole,
yeah,
for
yeah,
her family.
but not even that. I feel like as someone like a Sundar, he is also in a way, a victim of his circumstance. I mean,
Yeah,
what if he had a great run in the army? What if he
yeah,
didn't have to go through whatever experience he went through that gave him that PTSD, that
yeah,
horrible experience this man must have gone through to get that trauma?
right,
And he would come out of the army, he would get a great pension, get all the
right,
benefits, and they would have a great life. And this
right.
one would have done what she's doing, she would be an entrepreneur,
Yeah,
and they would be just fine. But what interests me is how insensitive people around us, and they don't have to be very big insensitivities, they are little insensitivities,
little things. Yeah,
just judge. Instead of, if we just remove our aspects of judging to aspects of understanding, life
yeah,
would be simple and easy for so many people around us. And I
yeah,
really wanted to explore that and understand that in this one.
and both from the society as well as from the family.
yeah,
Um, Both from the neighbors and from, with in the case of Maya, it's the insensitivity is I mean, most prominently from her own family, who kind of have never forgiven her for the rebellion of falling in love with the man she wanted to
Yeah,
fall in love
yeah.
with. Yeah.
yeah,
And that neighbor who, calls her this English speaking,
Yes.
everything is in that one, you see that whole dislike and judgment, everything in that English, these English speaking people. You see so
That
much
scene was,
hatred.
but it was actually all the abuses are good things. I mean, she's educated,
i-
but it's turned into a curse
what do
word
you
here.
think of
So,
yourself?
into a term
Yeah,
of abuse.
yeah, yeah,
yeah, yeah,
yeah,
It's so sad. But I can see why. I mean, this is a very thoughtful as well as thought-provoking film. So, I mean, you have to have that life experience to make a film like this. I can see I mean, my initial question was, why did it take so long? But I can see now that we're also discussing it. It cannot come overnight, a film like this, right?
Yeah.
It
Yes.
has to come from
Yeah.
uh, your own sort of your own journey as well, right?
And I
Yeah.
think I think it took us some time also, because it sprang from personal experience. But I think when we are so personally attached to an idea, or when a thought or a story comes from a personal world, we also have to find time to detach
Yeah,
in order to tell the story, because feeling is one thing and telling the story of that feeling is completely another exercise.
completely. Yeah,
And I
yeah,
think that's why I also instinctively, but the fact that Somu was there with me, he was constantly doing that for me also. He was mirroring, he was giving me the distance. That's why he writes the script. I didn't write the script. The fact that he writes very beautifully is different, but he wrote the script. But with I used to tell him things, and then he would go and write. But what he wrote was not what I told him. So that distance suddenly, and then I would see the scene, I was like, oh, okay, so this comes out of this
right,
action actually gives rise to this feeling, which I couldn't have done it because I'm so close to it.
right,
It took us that much time to unfold and sort of peel the onions of emotion to come
right,
to what can be finally communicated and expressed.
right.
That
And at the same time, I couldn't have written it without the lived experience that Tanushree brought
Exactly.
yeah. So that was why it became a very the decision to co-direct became a very necessary and organic way out of these, it being so personal, and the need to find distance and perspective.
Finding the money. Unfortunately, it is also about finding the money. Finding the money to make a film like this, which is so personal and yet it's so universal. She could be doing anything.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
that has been a very beautiful journey actually. How because it started with the need to raise money, but I think what we've ended up with is much more because
Made a
we
lot of friends along the way.
yes, and it's a big community of producers that have become part of the film, and it has happened. I think retrospectively we can say a lot about how this is a different model, and maybe that this is a model that we'd like to explore more, and it's a model that addresses the gap that Indian independent filmmakers face between the lack of any local available grants, the highly competitive grant cycles in other countries, the risks involved in raising money from equity. So the model addressed all of those things, but how it happened was a very organic process. That okay, at this point, when we were applying for a grant at the beginning, we needed to fill in a name for a producer, and that is when we approached Naren, who was not a producer at that point. We'd worked together on a film where he was an executive producer, but he was primarily a musician and a composer. And but then he kind of related to the script and then wanted to produce, and he came on board in 2018. So over the last seven odd years, he's now actually he produced Sabar Bonda, he's produced our film, and so it changed his trajectory as well. But along the way, at every point when we needed a certain amount of cash flow or a certain amount of support, uh, people stepped up for that point of the journey. For example, Sid Mir stepped up when we were going to shoot, and he came and set up the look files, the DIT, and he was a producer in kind. Whereas there was Jim Saab came on board very early to fund the money that we needed for the prep and the shoot. And then Vikram and Nikhil Advani came on board much later. So each person came, in relation to the script, but also in terms of the needs of the different, milestones of the journey of the film.
You said Sidney came up at what point?
He came just very early before we went to shoot. So then because I'm a cinematographer primarily, I've worked with Sid Mehta a lot on many films, and he's a champion of independent films in many
Right.
ways. So in the same way that Naren, because of Naren and the fact that he has a studio, there's so much in-kind support we were able to receive from that as well. In the same way, Sid Mehta took care of the entire, the DIT, the grade, the hard drives.
Even now, every time we have to send a DCP, we have to send something, we have to change the title, which would be a nightmare as an independent filmmaker. You can't imagine changing titles or adding something or subtracting something, because it costs studio time and money. For us, it's a call to Sid, and it gets done. It's a privilege.
So the production model was also, it was really the film fraternity coming together, because it was directors we'd worked with, it was a colorist, it was actors, it wasn't the usual model of just financiers or producers. It was everyone were filmmakers and people, practitioners of cinema in different aspects who came on board. So it's a very unusual group of people who came together in the end. The 19
as you said,
producers.
it's a very different model. It's not crowdsourcing. It's not raising money from grants. What would you call it? It's just.
I think it's
community in a way. The
community.
Film.
Yeah. Yes.
And it's the film fraternity, standing up at a point to answer that gap that exists in how films are made, where they're not ready sources of finance. They're not ready. It's difficult to make an independent film. So
and then to get it sorry. Yeah, go on.
Yeah. No, and also the fact that these people, like everyone, brought more than the money to the table. For example, Vikramaditya Motwane and Nikhil Advani, they brought their whole connections, which might be a very key strength for us as we move forward, trying to find an audience. So it was different people, whereas someone like Shaunak or Prashant Nair were very key when we were developing the script and working on the edit, because they were the feedback was wonderful. They really helped us as creative sounding boards at different points. So it was a kind of a very diverse group of people, and they answered different needs of the production at different times.
When it finally came together and Berlinale happened, what did you feel?
No, we had for me it was full circle. After 20 years, I went back to Berlin. I had gone there when I was in school, and for Tanushree, it kind of, it was Barakpur to Berlin. Was the
And you know what was the most beautiful part? And I said that we managed to get 3 Q&As out of 5 screenings, and we went to all the 3, and on the 3rd day actually it was -11 outside.
Wow.
And the film was screened, and it was at I think 7:30 the film had started. So by the time the film ended, it was I think 8:30 in the night, and everybody was sitting. And this is this was at least between 500 and 600 people, and they were all there, and I couldn't help it. I said, I can't imagine you guys are sitting here watching a film with subtitle of a culture you don't even probably know. But outside people, and there were women, men equally, but also a lot of women. There were these young 22-year-old girls who came to me, and one girl just held my hand and started sobbing. She just started sobbing. And here is she's a Berliner. She has nothing in common with Maya, and there she was holding my hand at 9 in the night, in Berlin, sobbing. And then there was one lady at 65-year-old. She said exactly what she said. She said, "Thank you for making this film." It and she just said that, and she happily went away. So there were these reaction which were from all these people, and then when we try to make these kind of films which are not overtly dramatic, overtly,
Yeah.
action or something, or horror, which is a great genre, people say, "Kahan milega audience?" I really felt like taking a picture. Like, yahan kaise aa rahe? How
Right.
are these people watching and connecting to an alien culture?
Yeah.
And it was
Actually,
beautiful,
in one of the
inspiring.
screenings, there was also there was an ex-soldier who had come and who
Oh.
it was a very
Yeah,
he started in the Q&A talking about how sometimes when you come out of the army, uh, you feel ashamed to even speak of the trauma that you've been
to your
through, and
family.
Right.
You can't, he
and
said, you can't say things.
to your
Sometimes
loved
you can't
ones.
say things that you have done. He said
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that is the trauma. Things that you've done, you cannot speak about it.
Right.
And so that, I mean, the seeing the film connect to the audiences was our biggest takeaway. I mean, it was
Yeah.
really special.
Wonderful.
And Berlin is also a festival where there's such big auditoriums, and there's such a presence of the city, the people from the city.
Yeah.
It's not only cinephiles.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's also people from Berlin who are not from the
Yeah.
industry, who are not filmmakers, or
Yeah.
just
Right.
coming to watch films. Yeah.
So when do we get to see it in India?
We're hoping, we're working on it. We are trying
Theatrical
to.
release, I hope.
First we want to try and secure a good Asian premiere, and
Right.
then so that will be the first leg of the journey, and then post that we will try our best for everything. We will try our best for theatrical. We will try our best for OTT. We will try, to bring it to festivals. This is our audience. This is where we made the film, so this is, we will.
We will
We're
try our best to
looking
reach
forward. This is our ultimate
Yeah.
end to come here.
Yeah.
that. Yes.
What are you working on now, both of you?
Oh, we've come back to go
Being
back to
like,
our. I'm working as a cinematographer now, so to sustain my
Yeah.
this is our livelihood. Tanushee's
Right.
gone back
I'm
to editing.
editing a documentary right now for someone, and yeah,
Um,
so we are
but
at
we
You
are
live in Mumbai? Where do you live?
I
no,
live
we
in
live in the
Bangalore.
we live in the village outside Bangalore where I grew up.
Oh, really? How
Yes,
lovely.
yes.
Oh, okay. So you've gone back to that.
So I am there. I work from home because I have a setup at home and I can edit from home. And
Right.
now I've been doing it for so long. Directors have started trusting me with their footage and everything. So
Right.
right now I'm editing at home actually as we speak.
But
And
I had to come back
Momo
to
is in
Bombay to
Bombay.
Right.
for a
So
shoot.
that's
Yeah.
what our son actually complains. So we have to make him understand that you can get one at a time. I am Mama or Papa.
How old is he?
He is 8 years old.
Is it?
Is he studying in the school? Oh,
Yeah.
but that school
Same.
doesn't
That
exist
that
No, he
anymore.
was,
goes to Aditi.
but he goes
Okay,
to
he
the
goes
school,
to
other school,
Other
where
school.
me and my producer met.
how lovely. I mean, it seems almost idyllic, but I'm sure it has its challenges occasionally. But
Yeah.
I mean, what a film, really. It's and I think Tilotma. I mean, just finding
Yeah.
her.
Yeah.
I mean, how did that happen? I mean, I can't imagine anyone else doing it, but how did it happen?
We wrote it for her.
Yeah,
We from the beginning we imagined her as Maya, and we didn't know her at that point. But our producer Naren was friends with her in Bombay, and so through Naren we sent her the script for feedback, not in the capacity of an actor, but in the capacity of a friend of the producer. And only after she read the script, and she called us to actually give feedback on the script, and it was through that conversation, and she responded very strongly to it. Then Tanushree and I went to her home in Bombay, and we had a 5 hour
We actually
conversation on
went
it.
for 1 hour, but
How
I'm staying there for 5.
Yeah,
And
and she
and
kind of responded to it so strongly from her own life experiences that she was going through. At that time, she was a caregiver to her mother who
her
was
mother, I
diagnosed
think,
with,
was suffering
yeah,
from cancer. Yeah.
who was suffering from cancer at that time, and many aspects of her own life that she brought to the character. And so then we worked with her, from 2018 till for 5 years, 4 5 years, we worked with her on the script, and we did a lot of preparation work, which meant that by the time we came to the shoot, we actually didn't need to talk or direct her at all much,
she
because she had
actually
already kind of become Maya. She'd
actually came
embodied
from
Maya.
Patal Lok shoot. She
Oh,
Patal
really?
Lok exactly,
Oh,
which is such a different character. She came,
so different.
and within 3 days, actually, she came back, and one day she had to repack her bag from in Bombay, and the next day she was in Barakpur. So
Wow.
Yeah, but it had become so internal to her. At one point, there was a feedback received, and we changed the script quite drastically. And Tilotoma read it, and she was very upset. And she called us, and she was saying that Maya is not like this. Maya wouldn't do this. And it was. She got worried that she was being too forceful. But for us, it was a really a really touching moment where we saw then Maya was a real person now for Tilottama. She wasn't a
yeah,
fictional character she was trying to find. She was saying that Maya wouldn't do this. Maya is like this, and that kind of gave us so much confidence in knowing that Maya exists. She's not in our mind anymore. She's a real person.
And Chandan, of course, I saw him in Fire in the Village, Fire in the Mountains.
yeah,
So
Yeah,
good.
yeah.
So
yeah.
good. And the, yeah.
I was shooting Trial by Fire with Prashant Nair, and
Oh,
uh, and he plays a very small role in that. And so actually I noticed him on my camera monitor first before I met him, while I was lighting him up, and there's something very mysterious about his eyes, and so I kind of was really struck by him, even though in Trial by Fire he plays a very small role. And then after that, Tanushree and I watched Fire in the Mountains and auditioned him. And
But Somo, if you remember, we didn't really even audition him. I
yes,
remember
we spoke to him.
video WhatsApp call. And in the WhatsApp call, Chandan Bhai, the way he was speaking, no, I remember we kept the call down, and I had taken one screenshot of Chandan Bhai and us in the frame. And then we cut the call, and the call was over, and we looked at it, we was like, he's our Sundar. We knew he had it. That mystery, there was this deep feeling this man has, which he's unable to share with the world, but there's something that he carries. For us, that was Sundar, no? Where he cannot really articulate what is there inside him, and doesn't maybe want to articulate to the world. He's protecting his hurt from the world.
Yeah.
That's there in Chandan Bhai. So we were convinced that he will be our Sundar. And
And the
then
boy, the shadow boxer.
the shadow boxer is from a village near Bandel, which is 1.5 hours from
Yeah,
Kolkata.
yeah. Yeah, yeah.
Little
I know.
young
It's
boy.
beautiful.
Yeah.
Bandit is beautiful.
Never acted in his life. He is actually a yoga champion. He's excellent. He's an excellent yoga champion. I found him through my friend and casting director Shumon Shaha. He is Shumon's student. They do body work, basically, part of that. So we cast him, and then we trained him for 6 months. But there was something again about his eyes, that stillness, that straightness of the spine. Once we had that, we literally built Shayon over that structure. And the best thing is, he really participated. He really worked hard. Then we did workshop with Anamika Haksar, because Anamika ma'am is very dear and we are very close to her. And she allowed us time in spite of her knee injury. She literally,
Yeah.
after 3 days, 4 days, I think, of the workshop, she went for her operation. So she took this work.
Tanushree did the lighting for Gode Ko Jalebi Khilane Le Ja Rahe Ho,
Oh,
it-
okay, okay.
and I was the cinematographer for it. So we
Nice. Well, again, fantastic film.
Yeah.
so we are very close from there.
So then Anamika ma'am took this amazing workshop, which was not to do with the script, but to like, because they have a shared history of 15 years of being a family. So we sort of explored that. What is it
Yeah.
to be a family? And then various aspects like Maya and her cycle, safe spaces within, what is a safe space? How does a husband wife communicate their each other's safe space? So these kind of various intriguing, deeply emotional workshops. So we did workshops with her, with the family, and that really kind of created a strange bond, which was actually quite visible. And that sort of, I think, comes out in the
And the home, that was a set, you went
No,
their home, or it's an
yeah.
actual home?
it's actual
So,
home.
we
Comes to a real Maya.
we shifted to Barakpur to make the film. We lived there for a year before we shot, and for us the choice of location was very much similar to the process of casting, because we wanted to find homes that which is there's so much that is left unsaid about the people, the characters' histories. So we wanted homes to answer those questions, to to help give dimension to the characters, and to, for example, the difference between the fact that Maya stepped down in
In life.
Starter is mainly answered by the kind of art direction of the two homes. It's not spelt out at all. It's just you see the kind of home her brother lives, and you see the home she lives in, but also the details of how each person keeps their homes. So a lot of the location scout was all walking distance around Barakpur where we lived, but it was a very long process that we did, very tied to the script. That okay, for this character, what kind of a house would they live in, and then we would almost scout and cast the home to be to be the second dimension to the character.
Yeah.
Right.
Like Monotosha's house, for example, is actually my own uncle's house.
Okay.
So we didn't change anything, because for us it was absolutely reflective of a middle class home.
Yeah.
We just kept everything the way it is, and it reflected Monotosha's class.
And
So
Maya?
and my
My we searched for a lot. That was the most difficult home
most
to
difficult home.
find. But yeah, but the house that we finally chose, the woman whose house it was another Maya. She had an
I have
incredible
two
story
daughters.
herself, and
Her husband actually drinks, and I'm not sure. I have a feeling, he's a husband who is a husband. He does what he does when he drinks, and you know how dignified these women are. They would actually never. People think this is weakness, but I see it as dignity. That they will actually not play victim in front of outsiders. They don't. But she's very confident. Letting her getting her two daughters educated in one of the best Bengali medium school in Barakpur. And the time we were there, actually, she was very relieved in many ways, very happy. All the women in that area was very happy. They stopped watching their television. They were all out. A lot of them are there in the film also as our bystanders, literally bystanders and acting in the film. And they were very sad. We were leaving after 5-6 days of shooting in Maya's house. They're like, तुम लोग अभी जा रहे हो हम क्या करेंगे come back sort of. So yeah, a lot of generosity from people around. And
So how long did the actual shoot take?
it was 22 days.
Oh,
So
so really
we had
short. But the prep
yeah,
for it was so long.
yeah,
yes, yes. Right.
yeah.
We had a very long preparation and a very long post production as well. But the shoot
When
itself
did you
was
shoot this?
we shot it in
February 23,
2023.
February to March
23.
2023.
What else to say? It's just such a wonderful film and so heartbreaking. But thank you so much. Thank
Thank
you. Thank you for doing this. I know I hustled you a bit, but I really wanted to do this quickly.
No, thank
Yes.
you so
Thank
much.
you
Thank
very
you.
much. And I love the film.
Thank
God
you.
Thank
bless.
you.
Thank you.
Nice talking
Thank
to
you
you.
so
Bye.
much. Yeah.
Thanks, Kaveri. Rushti, you'll just end the recording.